Welcome back to our series on listening. Yes, that's a pun because it's on listening as in our series about listening. Also, it's titled on listening, so it's our welcome back to our series titled on listening. All right, so we're talking about melody today. Hey, I'm Isaac Schanno Johnson. If you don't know me, I'm a musician, composer, producer, and I make videos about all that fun stuff. Music composition, music production. So make sure you hit that subscribe button to see videos like this in the future. All right, today's topic is melody. Because we're trying to learn a little bit more about music so that we can listen in a little more detail, hear a little bit more about what's going on. Also, I just love talking about listening to music. So let's get into it. Melody is one single hummable or singable line, kind of like the tune of a song is the term I like to use. If we imagine happy birthday, that's the beginning for the tune, the melody of Happy Birthday, right? And it doesn't have words yet, right? Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, right? Those would be with the words. But if we take away the words, just have that series of notes and rhythms, that's our melody. So melody is kind of like the specific pitches and specific rhythms combined into one line, one musical line. And most songs have a melody. Almost all vocal songs have some type of melody. If you're listening to music on the radio, it definitely has a melody. A lot of rap music even will have a melody or parts that are melodic. Drake does this a lot with auto-tune. He'll auto-tune his voice and then sing a line, sort of like Post Malone does now too. Lots of music has a melody. That's all it is a single, singable or hummable line. So let's take our example, happy birthday, I guess. That's the example for today. So happy birthday on piano would sound like this. And I could change the sound on my piano and maybe play it on an electric piano. Melody still stays the same because the notes and rhythms combined are still the same. Maybe we want to hear it on strings. Maybe we want to hear it on harpsichord. So all of those would be that same melody, but the instruments are changing. So melody can be played or sung by a whole bunch of different instruments and it'll still be the same tune. It's what you would sing to somebody of a song. If they were like, how does that song go? And you started humming something, you'd be humming likely the melody. Now we got to get into something that's a little more technical. We're going to talk about things being melodic. So not every piece of music has a melody. But a lot of stuff will have something that's melodic in it. So let's say I'm going to improvise a song really quick. I'm going to play something that doesn't have a melody, but it does have pieces that are melodic, and then we'll explain what those are. That's not a bad idea. I might make that into an actual song, honestly. I'm going to see if I can use this recording too so I don't have to re-record it. I'll sample it. Okay, so that song doesn't really have much of a melody because there's not this one single hummable line on top of it, right? Sort of like Happy Birthday. But there are melodic pieces in it, right? Like this. Or whatever it was that I played. That tiny little thing becomes kind of like our melody. That's what we hear as this top line, right? And I could change that up to be an actual melody if we try that. So that has a little bit more of a melody to it, right? A little bit more distinct of a line rather than this kind of simple line on top. So that's kind of one distinction between things being melodic and being a specific melody. So lots of music has this. If you listen to string quartets or orchestral music, any type of orchestral music, it can be film music, it can be classical music, it can be a string arrangement of a song, like a pop song or something. It can be the string parts in a pop song. They'll often be written melodically, right? So rather than being something like this, they'll be written in a way that can kind of make sense as a melody. Something that sounds like one coherent line rather than a disjointed group of notes. Now, that's not to say that all melodies follow these rules. Of course, lots of melodies have been written. Lots of melodies can be written in lots of different ways. But that's the general idea. Now, one other thing to remember when listening to the melody of a song is it'll probably be the easiest thing to listen to. It'll probably be the literal loudest, the most apparent, the most in your face. It'll also probably be the highest. So the highest notes in a song will often be the melody. For example, let's take Happy Birthday. I'm going to play it two different ways. First way, with the melody on top. Then I'm going to play the melody, but there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff above it. Try and see which one it's easier to hear the specific Happy Birthday part in. Okay? Let's go for it. Hopefully you could hear the difference between those two. The first one with Happy Birthday, the melody at the top, should be easier to hear as that song because that line, there's nothing above it. It's easier to hear. It is quite literally more exposed in the music, right? Because there's nothing above it. There's stuff below it, but it's the top line. It's one of the outside voices. The other one, there's stuff below it with my left hand and stuff above it. So it's less exposed because it's top line, bottom line, it's in the middle. It's a middle voice. Often hearing middle voices is harder to do and takes a little bit more practice, a little bit more listening. And it's often why the melody of a song will be the literal top line. Because it's easier to hear. If it's not as exposed, it's not as out in the open, and there's stuff above it and below it, and it's in the middle, it'll likely be harder to hear. Often people will compensate for this by then making it louder. Let's see what that sounds like. I'm going to play something similar to it in the middle with Happy Birthday in the middle. I didn't plan these out, so it might not be the same, but I'm going to play Happy Birthday with the melody in the middle, but I'll make it louder. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, now another thing I did there was I also rolled the chords because I'm not that great of a piano player. It's kind of hard for me to do that, really bring this one voice out without rolling them. So when you're listening to a piece of music, some stuff you can ask yourself related to the melody is, does it have a melody? That's the first one. What instrument's playing the melody? Is the melody exposed? Or is it sort of hidden in the middle? If you're listening to music on the radio, like rock music, pop music, or hip hop, you're probably going to have the melody be top voice and also very loud because that's what you want to pay attention to. That's at least what the producers and composers and singers and performers of the songs often want you to pay attention to. So it'll often be the loudest, right? But if you're listening to other music that has these other instruments, try and see, is there a melody? What instrument's playing the melody? And what other stuff is happening around the melody? So see if you can answer some of those questions next time you're listening to a piece of music. Does it have a melody? What's being played by the melody? Is there stuff above it? Is there stuff below it? Where in the music is it? How apparent is it? How loud is it? Next time you're listening to a piece of music, something to think about. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful. I hope you learned something about music. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.